Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Elden Ring Lore Explained. Today, we're going to be talking about, presumably, the first of the shard bearers that you will encounter upon your journey. Well, technically, it's the second one, but the first one you'll get a great rune from. And the first demigod that pretty much everyone tells you to go kick the shit out of, and that would be Godric the Grafted, the Lord of Stormvale Castle. You probably recognize him as the funky old guy with a million limbs stapled to himself. You know, really outstanding character design. Unironically, very good
You
character
tell me
design.
this guy has a castle and all of limbs. He must be pretty cool.
Yeah. I wonder if him ruling Limgrave is supposed to be a pun. Yeah, I bet you didn't think of that.
God.
Didn't think of that one, did ya?
No, I
No,
didn't.
why would I?
Oh, fuck. So, Godric. He is a member of the Golden Lineage, but he is far descended from Marika and Godfrey. So he's not really a demigod. He's like the least demigod we meet, other than Renala, who they explicitly state is not a demigod.
He's a 1/16 demigod.
Yeah, he's at least 1/16th. We're being generous with that one there. There are other members of the Golden Lineage, of course, other than the straight up children of Marika and Godfrey, like Godwyn or Morgott and Moog. The random ass nobles that you find, like wandering around Limgrave and various other places, yeah, those guys are members of the Golden Lineage. They are about as related to Marika and Godfrey as Godric is. However, Godric had a seat on the Royal Council. So, you have to wonder, what exactly did Godric have that put him over all these other random dudes that, were kind of in the same position as him within the lineage? And what I'm pretty sure that is that he was the Lord of Limgrave. He was a dude with big territory, so that warranted him having a position on the council.
Yeah, he also seemed pretty handy to have around.
Don't do that. Don't
No.
do that again.
You can't stop me.
Well, no, actually. Morgott refers to Godric when going over the thrones as Godric the Golden. And this is presumably because at this point, Godric had not started doing grafting yet. He was just some guy.
Nah.
So, he is a member of the Royal Council, but when you go over the list, let's see, we have Malenia, competition for the strongest demigod, Mikala, who is currently building an entire kingdom on a tree on the other side of the continent. You have General Radahn, who is a humongous badass, stopping interstellar bullshit from interfering in the world. You have Rykard, who is the praetor of the kingdom. He manages the Inquisition. And then we have Ranni, who is a very talented witch and an Empyrean, who is seemingly the one being set up the most to eventually succeed Marika. So still, in comparison to everyone else, he's still kind of low tier. Not particularly notable. But during the Shattering, he stole the Anchor Ring, one of the sections of the Elden Ring at the center, thus making him a shard bearer and granting him the power of a great rune. And he decided that he wanted to try and take over Leyndell, and stole various shit like the Mimic Veil. But his armies were ultimately repelled by the forces of the capital and Margit. Because Margit was a really huge badass, and he didn't take any shit. And the fact that he was effectively defeated by Margit in battle, not directly, but, his armies were defeated by Margit and friends. Margit would be well aware of Godric being, the weakest shard bearer. So that's probably why he set up shop at the steps of Stormvale Castle. because he wanted to stop people from getting to the Erd Tree, and the Tarnished will get progressively stronger as they go along. Got to start from the bottom up. So he's like, shit, I gotta go to the bottom. They're gonna go after Godric. I mean, seriously, every single person tells us to go after Godric. You get out of your fucking cemetery, and Vare's like, yeah, you should go kill Godric the Grafted.
Ow.
You're just some guy who woke up from being dead, and it's like, you gotta go kill a demigod. If you've gotta do that, go kill that one. Everyone has a really low opinion of him. Another reason for that is that he tried fighting Malenia at some point.
He did?
Right outside the gates to Stormhill, which leads up to Stormvale, there is one of the sword monuments, and this tells us that at one point, Godric was on his knees begging for mercy from Malenia. So...
Each time I hear about this guy, he gets worse and worse. Christ's sake.
Now, if we assume this is pre-grafting, which I'm assuming it is, Malenia could have, breathed in his general direction, and he would have been like, oh, oh. Gmod ragdoll sounds. It was bad. It would have been really terribly bad. And it's presumably after this humiliating defeat that Godric was looking into ways to become stronger. He's a member of the Golden Lineage. He is descended from the great Godfrey the Golden, the first Elden Lord. How can he be such a pathetic loser? He must become stronger. So presumably he did a little bit of research, looked into some things, and tried to find out how to become more powerful. And he presumably found someone that he was a descendant of in the Golden Lineage. And this was someone known as Godfrey the Grafted.
Very important character.
The single most important character in the entirety of the lore. A Godric reskin that you fight in an Evergaol. Who has actual lore connected to other characters. You can get a summon called, I think, Ancient Dragon Knight Kristoff, who was the one responsible for imprisoning Godfrey. Presumably Godfrey went around doing grafting, and everyone was like, yuck, that's gross. Also, you're chopping off people's body parts to stitch them onto yourself. You should stop doing that. So then Kristoff came along and threw him in an Evergaol. So Godric found out about Godfrey, and he was like, this whole grafting thing sounds pretty neat. If I'm weak, why don't I just take other people's strength and add it onto myself? Sounds easy enough, right?
Everyone will be afraid of me.
Everyone will be afraid of me.
Everyone.
I mean, I would be... Let's be real here. If you ran into a guy who had 100 arms and legs and was 15 feet tall, you would shit yourself on the spot.
That's a lot of handshakes.
Many handshakes. It'd also be really weird because he has some left arms on his right side and right arms on his left side.
It's versatility, don't worry.
Oh, sure, whatever you say. Now he started grafting various people's body parts onto himself. A lot of these were subjects within his castle. You meet one of them pretty much as soon as you get to Stormvale. But also, he had some Tarnished hunters working for him who would go out, kill Tarnished, and then bring them back to Stormvale, where their body parts would be cut off and attached to him. So he ended up growing into this giant, decrepit, grotesque monstrosity made of human limbs. And as such, was no longer known as Godric the Golden, but Godric the Grafted. Now, Godric's motivation and his pursuit of strength is very funny. It's very funny. Now, I think his big motivation, beyond just wanting to become stronger, was pretty much wanting to resurrect the Golden Lineage and making it his own, and mimicking the power of the very cool and powerful people that came before him, especially Godfrey. So, the Grafted Scions are other members of the Golden Lineage who were subject to grafting. So, these are other nobles that were either captured by Godric or went along to Godric and were like, hey, despite being members of the Golden Lineage, we are weak as shit. We need power. And they sought power and purpose in the past. And that was done through, presumably, the old art of grafting. And they also covered themselves in various symbols and representations of the past. The grafted scions have shields that depict Sarash, who was the counselor who guided the Golden Lineage. Godfrey's big lion stand.
That guy.
Yeah. So, his soldiers had emblems of the Erd Tree and the Beast Regent Sarash emblazoned on them. He had a painting of Godfrey in the room where he did most of his grafting. He had a statue of Godfrey behind his throne. The guy was trying very hard to LARP as Godfrey. He was trying very hard.
Might have had a bit of an obsession.
A mild obsession. He had this giant ornate golden battle axe with Sarash on it forged for him. Godric has two battle axes. He has his giant golden one, and then he has like a smaller one that he wields in one of his offhands that looks like it could be wielded by a player character. My headcanon.
Many offhands.
Yeah. My headcanon is that, like, why would he just have, like, one random battle axe? Why wouldn't he put, like, other battle axes in his other hands? My headcanon is that is the weapon that Godric used originally. That was his original weapon when he was, like, a normal dude. And then when he became big and disgusting, they had to make a big weapon to suit that. And that's when he had his giant battle axe forged. But Godric's longing for power from the past did not just end there. He ends up trying to seek the power of dragons, who we know are the prehistoric rulers of the world. The ancient dragons were the ones that ruled over the world in the age before the Erd Tree. And he ends up coming into possession of a dead dragon, a modern dragon. So one of flesh and blood. This is impaled on like a big spike thing in the castle's courtyard. I assume, because we know that, dragons just kind of go around and stuff, and we have Ogheel hanging out in Limgrave, that the dragon sort of flew over Stormvale Castle. Godric sees this and is like, give me that fucking thing. Leaps up into the air.
Really strong.
Leaps up into the air, because we know the dude can roll and jump. Leaps up into the air, grabs the dragon, and impales it on this thing. So now he's got a dragon.
Please.
And he calls this dragon a trueborn heir, which he wants the strength of. And this is ironic. This is very ironic, because the modern-day dragons are shitty, weak, pale imitations of their ancient stone ancestors. So Godric is a guy turning himself into a very shallow imitation of the strength of Godfrey, of rulers past, and is trying to gain more power from a shallow imitation of one of the powerful noble rulers of the past.
Oh, peak writing.
Yeah, peak fiction, truly. I don't know who's responsible for that, but
Also,
like the irony just stacks up. It just keeps stacking up.
Shout out to how when Godric rips off that dragon head and puts on himself, it just kind of sticks there. Does he have like his nerves wired to
It seems like
automatic
he just shoves his nub in there, and then it just works.
Yeah, he's
The
USB.
grafting is just that good.
It's grafting. He's mastered grafting.
He's
That
just
is
become
grafting.
he's magic. Grafting is fucking magical.
He's covered in USB ports, I tell ya.
It is of note that grafting is something that you do with plants, where you like cut off a little branch from something else and you tape it onto a different plant so that they grow together. The grafted scions are a pun, because a scion can be like a noble, it can be someone of noble birth, and also it can be a little tiny plant. that's cut off to use for grafting.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah, great. Now, upon Godrick's death, when we kill him, he reasserts once more that, oh, I'm the lord of all that is golden, ooh. But then says, one day we'll return together to our home bathed in rays of gold. I'm not 100% sure on who this other person is, because he says we, as in, like, other
I think
people.
that just might be everyone.
It could be everyone,
It
you know,
could
it
be
could be all the
specific.
members of the Golden Lineage that he has with him. It could be the dragon, because we know the dragons ended up on better terms with Lanedale because of Godwyn. Like, Lanciax seems to be protecting the capital. There is a dragon cult that helps to protect the capital. So, you know, could be them. It could be him just referring to his fellow nobles in general. You know, the other grafted scions. It seems like one of Godrick's true deep desires is just to go back to Lanedale, which he views as his home. He views it as the place where he belongs. He is someone of noble lineage. He is descended from a god. He is descended from a demigod. He comes from a long line of divine royals who have ruled over the lands between for eons. And he wants to be able to return back to that rather than festering in the squalor of Limgrave and his castle and being this grafted monstrosity. He wants to return back to the golden age of his lineage.
Back time to the good old days.
Yeah, go back to the good old days, just like the grafted scions. He wants to reach out and reconnect with the past and the glory of that past. But some things lost to time will remain that way forever. And ultimately, Godrick is just a guy trying very, very hard to imitate those who came before him. And with that, that's pretty much all for today's episode.
Wow, so quick.
Yeah, well, because this was a lot shorter. Because we're just talking about Godrick, who is not super important outside of Limgrave. There are some connections to him up in Lanedale, but that's about it. I have not fully decided on who I'm going to talk about in the next few episodes. This poll will presumably already be up by the time this video is out. But I'm going to put up a poll to see which of the demigods of my selection that you, the viewers, want to see a video on next. I will probably do them in the order of popularity.
Community interaction.
Oh, community interaction. What a novel idea. So, you know, whichever one gets the most votes, I'll do the episode on next. Second most, we'll do after that, and so on and so on. I'll have like 3 or 4 of them in there. So, you know, go do that if I haven't already decided on the order by the time that you're watching this. I'll probably give until like Sunday. I don't know. So, if you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I'll be doing Elden Ring lore explained at least twice a week. It'll mostly be twice a week. Occasionally there'll be a week where we may get like 3 episodes or something. So, you know, definitely be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of those. Oh, and I have a Discord server, so if you're interested in that, there's a link to it down in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Shark Wheeler.